now tuned into The Truth with G. Inspire, educate, and uplift. If you can't handle the truth, this ain't the show for you. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So sit back, relax, and buckle up and enjoy this ride.
The Truth with G. The Truth with G. The Truth with G.
All right. Welcome back to the show. You're listening to The Truth with G, WPMM Internet Radio. I am your boy, Gerald Graham. You know me as G. Once again, we are back to talk about the issues that matter to you and your community. Hope all is well with everyone. Hope all is well. It is Monday. We are back on the grind. Hope that you had a great start to your week. A great Monday. For me, it was a little rough. Not feeling my best today, but we're still here. Woke up this morning and just wasn't feeling my best. So I had to get me a little rest, if you will. But I am still here. I'm still blessed. And we're going to make it do what it do. So I want to thank you for joining me once again right here on WPMM Internet Radio, right here on The Truth with G. And got a few topics we're going to talk about today, but let's take care of the particulars so that we can get into the show. If you're on Facebook, let's go ahead and get the show started. Mr. John Adams is on with his antics as always. Good to see you, Mr. John. Miss Deborah Rivers is on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, go ahead and share. But we're going to talk about today, and just to give you a little precursor, if you will, of the show, going to talk about still got violence going on in Pensacola, and I got a somewhat of a solution that I want to talk about in that aspect. So something that we all can take place in and trying to curb the violence that we had, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. Also, over the nation, we had 8 mass shootings over the weekend. Mass shootings, if you will. That's just not regular idiot shooting. That's mass shooting, and that's where either 4 or more victims are affected in a shooting. We had 8 of those over the weekend. Talk about that as well. Also, going to talk about the Republicans, the possibility of Republicans taking over our 3-tiered system here, if you will. You got your Congress, you got your president, and you have your Supreme Court. We'll talk about that, but the dangers of the Republicans taking over that. Also, the thing that's trending highly in the media right now, especially on social media, is the controversy with KEKE Palmer and her situation with the issue that they had with her boyfriend, if you will, baby daddy, however you want to categorize it, and her dress code, her wardrobe, if you will, and her actions that were put out there for the world to see. We'll talk about that as well, because I put out a question on just the dress code, and I got some interesting comments on that, and I've been hearing a lot of different comments on that situation. So we'll dive into that as well. Mr. John Adams said, that's why I'm not going to get my funeral director's license. Somebody got to bury these idiots. Right? Yeah, it's crazy, Mr. John. But let's go ahead and take care of the particulars, if you will. But we are WPMM Internet Radio. We're under the Change and Rise Media Group, LLC. And we do play more music here at WPMM. We play more neo soul, jazz, R&B, hip hop, old school. You can tune in on iTunes. We're at WPMMradio.com. You can find us on the website. You can go to the website and download the app as well. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. If you're on Facebook, let's go ahead and share. Go ahead and share if you're on Facebook. Also, if someone needs help, just text them. Just send a text message, put WPMM Radio in the comments, and send it to them. All they have to do is click on it, hit play, and they can listen to the show as well. Also, the views and opinions expressed by individual radio hosts and guests are of their own and does not necessarily reflect the official policy of WPMM Radio. WPMM does not intend to align with any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything. All right, now that we have gotten that taken care of. Also, not taking phone calls today, but we are taking your comments. If you're listening on Facebook, by all means, put your comments in the Facebook section, in the comment section on Facebook, and we'll read your comment out loud, and we will talk about your comment, even if it's on a different topic than what I'm talking about. And just keep in mind, we're not doing garbage or mess or anything of that nature. We're not gossiping and just things of that nature. We're talking about the issues here today. So, well, thank you for joining me once again. I really do appreciate it. Oh, and about last night, let me talk about last night just a moment here. And if anyone on here that is friends with Mr. Gregory Thornhill, I know he's on my Facebook page, but tag him real quick. See if he can jump on the live on Facebook, if you will. What about last night? Here's what took place last night, if you weren't aware of it. Here in the Pensacola area where we broadcast from, there was a award ceremony that took place last night. Black Men Crown is what was called the theme of the event, or the night, if you will. And under the Black Men Crown, and this is Mr. Gregory Thornhill put this together. And what he did was put together a night to honor the men in our local area here, which has never been done before. You know, we've had situations where an individual may have been recognized in a ceremony somewhere, where have you, but we have never had an event that is focused on the accomplishments and the success of Black men. So shout out to Mr. Gregory Thornhill for putting that event on. I was present at that event as well. I was also a nominee for that event, for my category, if you will, in regards to this show. In my category, there was 3 other individuals that were listed, and I want to call the names, but I don't want to get any names wrong. But there were 3 other individuals in my category: Vincent Nichols, Antoine, and oh God, I shouldn't have even started. Antoine, I forgot the name, and Gentris. Those are the people in the category. Excellent men, great men, doing great things. And I was just honored to be amongst the nominees for that particular category, just to be recognized. My understanding of the event, you know, you had to be nominated to you had to meet a number of nominations, if you will, to be a finalist. And whoever nominated me, I want to thank them for the nominations, and then I want to thank all the people that voted for me as well. I did not take home the crown, but the Gentris, if I can think his last name, I would, but I can't. Gentris is won the event, the crown, if you will. But in my eyes, we are all winners, because we are all trying to do something to better our environment, to better our neighborhoods, to better our community, and better our city. So kudos to all those in my particular category, and shout out to all the Black men that were nominated. It was a bunch of Black men that were nominated in several different categories. It was so many. It was several categories, but the night was a excellent night. It was so good to see a room full of Black people, and well, let me take that back. There were a couple, 3 white people that were in attendance, so I don't want to take away from them as well. Appreciate them coming out. But it was so nice and so pleasant and so uplifting to see a room full of Black people that were there to honor Black men, and with no foolishness. There were no There was no beefs going on, between the nominees and the winners or anything like that. No, everybody applauded each other. Everybody congratulated each other. Everybody was there um, to support Black excellence in our Black men in the community. And it was a beautiful thing to see. And I enjoyed myself. It was a spectacular night. Everybody there was beautiful. Everybody looked good. It was just a wonderful evening, and Mr. Greg Thornhill put that together, and I have to take my hat off to him and just let him know that he did the doggone thing. The event was organized. It was well planned. It was well thought out. I mean, down to the details. Even with the tickets, there was tables. There were people that you had your assigned seat, your assigned table. Everything went well. Everybody cooperated. I mean, it was just a beautiful night to be a part of. And once again, I'm humbled and I am thankful and I am glad just to be a nominee um, in that category. And one thing, it's something that caught my eye today, and even though I'm giving my kudos to Mr. Thornhill now, I got to fuss something that I saw and I came across today, where anytime you have an event, and I hope if somebody can tag Mr. Thornhill, if he can get on here and let me know he's on here. But one thing I hate is for people to hate on someone who is trying to do well, who is trying to do good for the community or what have you, and trying to grow and prosper. And then we have those who want to hate. Um, and I wasn't gonna say anything, but I have to. It would be I would be beside myself if I did not say anything. When you are one of those people who want to find or create something negative out of a positive event, you really need to check yourself. You really need to check yourself. And with this event that took place last night, this event was planned out by Mr. Thornhill, well planned out. The process in which he went about it was as fair as you can make it. There couldn't been anything more fair. There are some people in those categories who made the list or made the as a finalist, if you will. You had to have X number of nominations to be a finalist. And when he first came out with this event, he put the information out on his social media, Facebook, what have you. He put the information out there as to what he was trying to do, how the process is going to go. And he asked for nominations for people to submit the names of people in certain categories. He asked for all that. He took that information once the nomination process ended. He took that information, and if you met the criteria as a nominee, X number of nominations, if you met that criteria, then you became a finalist. Once he obtained the information on who was the finalist, he put it out there for the vote, the open vote, which anybody could have voted. All you had to do was go log on to his information, and you could vote for whoever in your category, what have you. That was the process. Whoever got the most votes won the crown. He also gave out awards for the runner-up. So the second place person also got the runner-up plaque, if you will. The winner got a crown. The runner-up got a plaque. Very nice crown that the winner got. Very nice plaque that the runner-up got, and all the nominees got a certificate, if you will, showing that they were a nominee, a finalist for a Black Men crown. Beautiful night. And also he even went to where he also gave a lapel pin that showed that was a crown. and everybody that hit the stage, they put that lapel pin on that person before they went to the stage, and he called every one of the finalists to the stage. And that's, you don't see that. You know, usually in award shows, the only person that comes up on the stage is the winner. But he called every single finalist to the stage, and once everybody was to the stage, everybody got the accolades. Everybody was there dressed nice, so they hit the stage. There, people could see them on stage, whatever. He announced the winner, whatever. All the nominees who did not win the crown applauded the winner. It was a beautiful night. But again, we got haters that want to just throw salt in the game, which irritates the hell out of me. But with that process, if you went along with that process, if you followed the process, which he did, and if you wasn't a person who was a finalist, or if you wasn't nominated, then no, you were not going to be a part of that particular event. So if one individual feels like this person should have made it, or I should have made it, and this person, whatever, that person didn't make it because they didn't get the required number of nominations. And if they didn't win, they didn't get the most votes. Period, point blank. So if you want to hate on something, hate on yourself in that aspect, because Mr. Thornhill did his thing. He did his thing, and my hat's off to him. And I celebrated that last night. Me and my wife was there, and it was a lovely experience. Again, I did not win the crown, but I did when I hit the stage. I heard my name called, or whatever the case may be, and I was just overjoyed, and I was so humbled by just being there and being on that stage. And it was a beautiful sight to see a group of Black people in there to honor Black men, and everybody getting along, and everybody looking beautiful. So shout outs to Mr. Greg Thornhill once again. And this the inaugural. So you don't call anything inaugural if it's not going to happen again. So I'm assuming this time next year, it'll be another event where he run the second annual Black Man Crown Awards. And if you think that you're supposed to be there, if you think that your person's supposed to be there, the person you think is supposed to be there, nominate them, or do what it takes for other people to think that you belong in that category. But anyway, let's move on. And again, if you have comments, put the comments into the comment section. And we'll read your comments. Again, they don't have to be on the topics that I'm talking about, just as long as they're pertinent. And we will definitely talk about and discuss your issue, if you will. So let's move on along. Let's see, the next thing we're talking about, if you're just joining, it is Monday Madness. We're talking about this foolishness that's going on in our city. Violence in Pensacola. The violence in Pensacola. It is, and again, I earlier, I kept saying it's getting out of hand, but it's out of hand. It is completely out of hand. It is completely unacceptable. Over the weekend, there's 2 people that lost their life to gun violence. Over the weekend, I'm just seeing that one of the names of the individuals was put out on the media. My condolences to the families of those who lost. It is. I don't understand what, how, why. I really don't understand, and I want to understand. And if I understood it that way, I could better offer whatever advice or whatever solutions that I may have to try to rectify this problem that we're having with violence in our community. But I don't understand it. But 2 people lost their lives in Pensacola the same night, on Saturday night. One took place in the Chasers Lounge, in the parking lot of Chasers Lounge. The other one took place at the Moore's apartment. And I'm not going to put any names out there right now. Um, but it is out in one. I know at least one of the names is out in regards to the victims. But again, my condolences goes out to the family of those victims. Also, my condolences goes out to the family of the shooter. I don't know the details, why, what would have happened, whatever. But if it was a criminal act that took place, uh, that family of that shooter will suffer a loss, even though it's not a death, but it'll suffer a loss if that individual is uh, caught and prosecuted and sentenced. That person will be in prison, and if that person had family, that family goes through that same process. While that person is in prison, they go through the same loss, a different type of loss than a loss of life, but it's still a loss in itself. So, and now that family has because of the actions of their loved one, that family has to deal with the fact that their loved one is sitting in prison for X number of years for the acts that they have perpetrated. So, and I talked to I talked via text to my brother Larry Simmons. I don't know if he's on here tonight. If he's on here, let me know you out there, Mr. Simmons. Because we was to do a forum on gun violence, which will be rescheduled. And let me reiterate that it will be rescheduled. I'm thinking it's either going to take place toward the end of this month or the first part of August. We had the gun forum scheduled, but it did not take place as scheduled because of technical difficulties, and I talked about that after the fact as to why we did not have that gun forum. But it will be rescheduled. We've been Mr. Simmons text message. Yes, day before yesterday, I think it was Saturday, if you will, and we're gonna lock down a date, and we're gonna keep you informed on that date. But here's what I was thinking about, and I actually went to sleep thinking about this on Saturday night after I found out that Sunday night, if you will. Knowing that 2 more people have been killed over a weekend in our city. But gun violence. I was like, I've been trying to come up with solutions, if you will. Been trying to come up with what can be done to solve this issue or to curb the violence. And the one thing that I came up with that we all can play a role in, and right now I'm talking about the adults in the room. I'm talking to the adults right now. And not saying that it's only the young people that are committing these crimes, because again, we got some old heads that's out there still being knuckleheads as well. But 8 out of 10 times when this violence takes place, is normally a younger person. So what each one of us can do as an adult, if we commit ourselves to being examples, to being a positive example for not just your son or your daughter, be a positive example for any young person that you come in contact with, any person, the young person that has contact with you, any young person that you may have influence over. If we as adults, if everyone can commit to be a positive influence, a positive role model to all of our young people, that could help in stopping this senseless violence that we have. Because believe it or not, whether you believe it or not, young people do what they see you doing. Young people emulate your actions. They emulate your words. If your child is growing up in a cussing household, your child is going to grow up cussing. And I use cussing as an example, if you will. But uh, if your child grow up in a violent household environment, they are likely to commit violence when they grow up. If your child grow up in a household where they know that someone in that household is selling illegal drugs, they are more likely to grow up and emulate what they have seen. If your child grows up in a household where there's alcoholism, where there's drug use, as they grow up, they're more likely to emulate what they see and they hear. If your child grows up in a household where they see that you, as a male figure, if you're in the household and you are about that life, if you are wanting to be a thug and you out there doing this, that, and the other, and you walk around the house with your pants hanging off your behind, and if you walk around the house with a blunt in your mouth all day and you smoking weed and you doing this, that, and the other, your child is going to see that and they're going to emulate you because you are that role model. You are that person that they see. You are that person that they look up to. And when kids look up to someone, they don't look up to someone to see if they're doing right or doing wrong. They just look up to you in reference to what you're actually doing. They don't know right from wrong until you teach them. And we need to stop teaching our kids that is only wrong if you get caught. So my solution to start the process in helping these kids get on the right path and stay on the right path is for each and every one of us as adults to be a positive influence, to be a positive role model, to set a positive example for these young people. Because I've seen some terrible examples in our adults in regards to these kids, and this is across the board. This is from parents, the coaches, to whoever. I've seen some terrible examples along the way. So being a positive influence on our young people can help. I'm not saying it's going to get rid of, but it can help. Because if you act a fool, the kids that see you, the kids that look up to you, whether it be your kids or somebody else's child, if you acting a fool, then they're more likely going to act a damn fool as well. But here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. When you out there acting a fool, and then the child act a damn fool, and the child get in trouble, the child does something in school to get in trouble, the child does something out there in the streets to get in trouble, and the first thing that you want to do is blame the child for doing something stupid. You want to look down and talk down on that child because that child did something to get in trouble. But they learned it from you. So, and I'm not talking about all parents. I'm talking about the ones that's out there acting a damn fool and then want to think that the child is going to be one of the best kids that you will ever see in your life. It's not likely to happen. But you want to get down on the child and my child don't do it. I'm trying not to get off on a tangent on that because it's irritating. It irritates me and it pisses me off. So we're going to try not to go all the way down that road. But we have to come up with something, people. We have to come up with something to get this violence under control that we're having in our community, whether it be gun violence on the street, whether it be domestic violence, whether it be violence against our kids, in the aspect of physical violence, molestation, things of that nature. We have to get this under control because it is so far out of control. And praying alone is not going to help. For all you evangelicals and all you Christian folks and all you Bible thumpers and things of that nature, I'm not talking down about you. I'm just letting you know that prayer alone is not going to do it. You can sit there and pray for something all day long, every day, all day. Stay on your knees until your knees bleed. But if you don't get up off your knees and take action and do your part in helping this situation, then your prayers are in vain. You might as well be cussing. You might as well get on your knees and just start cussing. Don't cuss God out. Because all that prayer you're doing, and you're not getting off your behind and trying to help this one, that one, and this one in the community. You're not trying to help your nieces and your nephews. You're not even giving them encouraging words, but you want to get on your knees and you want to pray and then when these kids come into church and they may not be dressed like you think they're supposed to be dressed, and then you criticize them, and then they hear about you criticize them, then they stay away from the church, and you wonder why they're not in the damn church. I'm going off on another tangent. I'm not trying to go there tonight, but we as adults got to get our crap together. We got to get our crap together so that we can help these kids. If you're not being a positive influence, if you're not being a positive role model, if you're not setting a positive example, then you are part of the violence that is taking place today because you're not doing anything to solve it or to curb it or to try to prevent it. I am not a perfect person. Never will claim to be perfect, never will be perfect. I'm not casting judgment on anyone. I'm just telling the truth. You were never, and you have never, anybody that knows me cannot think of one situation or one statement that I have made to where I have given a young person the okay to do something that they're not supposed to be doing. Anytime I come up on a young adult, whether it is my child or the next person's child, I am going to promote positivity to that child. I'm going to give that child a positive word. I'm going to give that child encouragement. I'm going to give that child a tongue lashing, if you will, if they're doing something stupid. I'm going to sit them down and make sure that they know what they're doing is not the way to go. I can't say what's going to happen once they leave my presence, but I can say while they were in my presence, I did my part to help educate and be a positive role model to this child and pointing this child in the right direction. And I think if we all did that as adults, if we all did that, I think that we would put a dent in this senseless violence. We will give these kids a whole nother aspect of self-worth. They will, more likely feel like they don't need to be looking for love in the streets, and they can find that in the comforts of their own home, and in the comforts of their own school, in the comfort of their own church. We'll talk about church folks another day. I got a whole show in mind on church folks because church folks got to get it right. Church folks got to get it right. But again, over the weekend, another 2 people shot dead in Pensacola. If you're just joining us, we're talking talking about the topics here on Monday Madness on WPMM. We're talking about the violence in Pensacola, and that same violence goes across the nation. The United States of America is one of the most violent places that you will ever see on the map. Just this weekend, we had 8 mass shootings over the weekend. And again, a mass shooting is categorized as a shooting incident where 4 or more people are killed or wounded by gun violence, where 4 or more are killed. So if we had 8 of those mass shootings over the weekend, I hadn't seen the numbers, but I can imagine what we had in just shootings that did not involve 4 people. But we had 8 over the weekend in the United States. We are in July. We are in the second week of July. 371 mass shootings in the year 2023. 371 mass shootings. There's other countries that have had 0 mass shootings. There's many countries that have had 0 mass shooting. We're sitting at 371. And it's July. I went to public schools. I can't do the math in my head, but if I did do the math in my head, I would come up with probably somewhere around 1.7, 1.8 a day in mass shooting. I went to public school, but I know how to round up a little bit. Let's round that up. We'll round it up to 2. 2 mass shootings in the United States every single day. And we can't get our government to pass common sense gun laws to try to regulate the sale and the purchase of guns and who can get their hands on guns. Looks like Miss Fancy has joined us. How you doing tonight, Miss Fancy? Good to see you on here. Thank you so much for listening. But mass shootings, almost 2 per day in the United States, 371 shootings this year. And we're just in the beginning of July. We still have 5 more months remaining in this year. If we keep up the pace that we're on, we will topple 600 plus mass shootings in 1 year if we're on this same pace. I don't understand. I don't understand the mentality, but again, we have a government that is not willing to legislate just to try to keep the guns out of the hands that do not need them. We know we have the laws where if you're a convicted felon, you're not supposed to have a firearm. We have the laws where if you're under age 21, you're not supposed to carry a handgun. We have the laws where at 18, you're not supposed to, if you're 18, you can have a shotgun, but you can't have a handgun. We have states where there's open carry. It means that you can walk around with a AR-15 strapped to your chest and go in the grocery store and shop with AR-15 strapped to your chest in these open carry states. We have concealed carry states where if the people that are concealing and carrying, if there are only responsible people that are doing that, that will work out just fine, because we know that the responsible people that are carrying are only carrying it for their personal safety. We know that these are the people that's not going to are carrying weapons with the mind frame of going out and robbing a bank or robbing a store or going out to intentionally harm someone. And no, we don't know who all is mentally ill and who have mental issues and this, that, and other. But at the same time, our government, and these are people on the right, the dumbasses on the right, And when I say the right, I mean the Republican Party, who are Second Amendment enthusiasts, and they are slaves to the Second Amendment. They are slaves to the money that is the revenue that is coming in from gun sales. And they know that the money that's coming in from these gun sales, these are the ones that's going to contribute to their campaigns and their agenda and whatnot. So they're not trying to touch that particular industry. They're not trying to regulate that industry. They're not trying to do anything to hurt their personal chances of either getting in office or remaining in office. And all we need to do is pass common sense gun laws. Not saying it will stop, because we will still have idiots out there that will do the wrong thing and carry guns when they're not supposed to carry, because we have seen it. Even though these certain laws have been in place, we have seen people under the age of 21 who are carrying handguns. Again, these are the ones that's out there shooting right now. The ones that are under 21 that's not even supposed to have handgun. And this is where the parents come in. This is where the adults come in and play a role in these young people who are carrying these guns. And as I was talking about earlier, be a positive role model, be a positive influence on these young people. And it's the adults is where they're getting the guns from. Because they can't, under 21 years of age, you can't go buy a gun. You can't legally buy a gun. And if they are buying guns, they're buying them illegally, which means that a adult had to make the initial purchase. So therefore, they must be buying it from the adult, or they're buying it from a young kid who done stole it from an adult, stole it from a parent who have broken in somebody's car and stole it out their car, or what have you. But again, it goes back to being responsible as a parent and as an adult. Because if you're a responsible adult, if you have guns in your home, I am a gun owner. I have weapons in my home. But my weapons are not available for a underage person to get their hands on it while they're in my home. But at the same time, I've raised my kids to where they have common damn sense as well. If I tell them, I can sit my gun, not saying I did, not saying I would, but I can sit my gun on the kitchen table. And I could have told my boys, don't put your hand on that gun. And you know what? They weren't going to touch that gun. Again, it's hypothetical. But I truly believe in my heart of hearts that if I had done that with the way that I raised my boys, they would not have touched that gun. I could have sat it on my kitchen table and say, my gun is sitting on that kitchen table. I'm about to leave. I'll be home in 6 hours. Don't touch that gun. And I guarantee you I can come home in 6 hours. That gun will be sitting right there in the same place. I can take fingerprints on it and just to see who put their hands on it. And I guarantee my fingerprints will be the only one on it. That's because I raised my kids to know right from wrong, and not saying my kids are angels, because they far from angels. But in my home, I regulate at my house. And that's just a hypothetical, if you will. So we all have to play a role in what these kids do. But 371 mass shootings in our nation in this year is ridiculous. So as adults, we have to be more responsible. We have to do our part in keeping these guns out of the hands of these people. Miss Francis said a menace to society in one of her comments that she put on the comment section. And most of these menaces that are put in that category as being menaces, they learn it from an adult. That's why I'm saying, that's at the top of the show, that's why I said, if we as adults be a positive role model and exhibit that and display that throughout our daily lives, we can get more of these young people to come aboard and be positive people as well. If we act negative, they see us being negative, they're going to act a damn fool. So, But anyway, we have to get this under control. What time? Let's see how much time we got here. We still got a few minutes. I also wanted to just touch on what's trending. What's trending here, and this is an opinion. This is my opinion section. This is not based on facts, factual information or anything. This is my opinion. We'll call this G's perspective, if you will. And I'm saying this prior to even saying anything. This is my opinion or my thoughts, if you will. And what I'm talking about is the situation with KEKE Palmer. And if you don't know who KEKE Palmer is, she was a child star, if you will, child protege that made movies coming up. She was featured in several movies as a kid, what have you. She's grown up now. She's grown up. My understanding, KEKE Palmer is about 27 years old. If I'm incorrect, somebody correct me, but I think she's 27 years old. KEKE Palmer recently had a child. I'm not sure how old the child is. I think the child is I'm not going to make it up. I don't know how old the child is. It's a baby. I can tell you that it's a baby. Maybe in the less than a year old, probably several months old at this point. So, but anyway, her situation is sparking a whole lot of comments on social media. It's like everybody's talking about it. Apparently, what KEKE Palmer did, she went to a Usher concert or what have you, and she was dressed a particular way, and she ended up. My understanding was on stage with Usher. And while she was on stage with Usher, he had her in an embrace and whatnot while she was on stage. And the outfit that she had on, this sheer outfit thing is kind of trending right about now, if you will. I'm seeing it more and more often where the dresses are see-through and then they cover up, their private parts, if you will, but you can see through the dress. And I've seen it on a lot of different social media and, the award shows that, BET awards, things of that nature. And it appears that the younger people are doing it. And at the same time, you had the older people doing it. And if you want to talk about celebrities, two celebrities that I saw other than KEKE Palmer that did it was, dang it, the names just left my brain. Gabrielle Union and dang it, I forgot her name. Played in Baby Boy. Lucia's old girl. What is her name? See, when you get old, you forget about stuff. Somebody help me out. When I know the woman's name, that's a doggone shame. But anyway, I seen them two at a awards thing, and they had their business out there in the streets, as old people would say. But that thank you, Ms. Rivers. Thank you so very much, Ms. Rivers. Taraji P. Henson is her name. See, when you get old, your short-term memory just goes when you start getting older. So I appreciate that, Ms. Rivers. Thank you, Ms. Fancy, for bailing me out as well. I appreciate that. Mr. Tony, he's on listening as well. Good to see you on here, Mr. Tony. But here's the thing. I'm going to say this first. I'm going to say this first and foremost, because if I say anything else, then y'all going to jump on me. You're going to jump on me and say I shouldn't have said that. But I'm going to say this to begin with. As an adult, you have the right to do anything that you want to do. As long as it's not illegal, you have the right to do anything that you want to do. And nobody can tell you any different. Nobody can stop you from doing it. You have the right to do what you do. But at the same time, just because you can doesn't necessarily mean you always should. And the reason I say that is because as an adult, you have to think about, especially if you have children, You have to think about how your actions will affect your children. First and foremost. So again, as an adult, you have the right to do anything that you want to do in life, however you want to do it, whatever case may be. If you want to run down the street butt naked, that is kind of illegal, but if you want to do it, go ahead. But as long as it's not illegal, you have the right to do it. And KeKe Palmer had the right as an adult to go to that concert and do whatever she wished to do, as long as she wasn't doing anything illegal. That is fact. That's the factual part of it. Now, here's the opinionated part of it. It's just because you can, don't mean you should. And as an adult, especially with kids, once you have kids, you are not just yourself anymore. You are your kids as well. So everything that you do, everything that you say can reflect either positively or negative on your children. And that's what you have to think about. Once you have children, you done gave up self. You can have a boyfriend, a girlfriend, but you can still have self. You can have a husband or a wife, but you can still have self. But once you have those children, you done gave up self. It's we now. It's us. And that's what you have to consider when you go out and do whatever you do as an adult. Again, this is my take. And I've seen in this situation with KeKe Palmer where I get a lot of pushback, but KeKe can do what she want to do. Yeah, she can. She can. She definitely can. And then I'm seeing where, people jumping on the boyfriend and saying, well, he ain't put a ring on a finger. It was immoral for them to have sex and to have a child out of wedlock and this, that, and other. They jumping on this man for putting his statement out on social media. Again, that man is an adult. That man has the right to do whatever he want to do, however he want to do it, as long as it's not illegal. Now, I'm gonna say this. That brother took a lot of bashing. He's still taking a lot of bashing on social media and in the media. Everybody's talking about him as far as what he ain't doing, and he's a stay-at-home dad and this, that, and other, and he ain't making the money, she making the money, so she making the money, she can do it. This man is taking a beat, and I'm not defending him. I'm just saying what happened. But and a lot of women, and this is based on what I've seen. A lot of women are on the side of KeKe. A lot of men are against what KeKe did. And that's just the truth about the matter. So that man is an adult. He did what he did. He has the right to do it, just like KeKe did what she did. She had the right to do it. So if they do it publicly or privately, that's their right. It was public when she had her ass cheeks out, hugging up on Usher. Nobody said anything about that part, especially. I'm not beating up on you ladies, I promise you I'm not. I'm just telling you what's factual based on what I've seen. All the ladies jumped on KeKe's side and say she can do what she want to do. But she jumped out there in public. She put her ass cheeks out there in public. She was hugged up with Usher in public or whatever. But as soon as that man say something in public, he wrong. I don't think that should be the case. Again, this is my opinion. So there's a lot of talk, but the bottom line is, as grown folks, you do what you do, but there's consequences for your actions, especially if you have children. If you want to be in a relationship, there are certain things that you have to adhere to be in a relationship with someone else. You have to give up some of yourself in order to have a successful relationship. You can't just do what you want to do and expect the person that you're in a relationship with to accept anything and everything that you do, because that person is not going to like everything that you do and vice versa. So when you put yourself in a relationship, you have to come to common ground, if you will. You have to come to a compromise when it comes to certain things. I would never try to regulate my wife or my situation. I will put out there what I like, dislike, approve, whatever the case may be. I put out there, and I will say that I like this. I will say that I don't like that. And at the end of a relationship, it's going to be up to her to adhere to or to take in considerations my feelings while she is in the relationship. And to have a successful relationship, you have to take in account the feelings, the thoughts, the opinions of your significant other. If you just do things off the cuff, out the blue, without that discussion or what have you, then that's when you run into problems. Miss Fancy said Sierra did it too, and she married and she did. And here's the thing. Here's the thing, Miss Fancy. As adults, you can do that. You have every right. You have every right to do that. If Russell Wilson, as her husband, is okay with Sierra going out there with her butt cheeks out, then that's what you do as adults. Have fun. Live your life. Have fun. If Russell is okay with that, then fine. Nobody else should have a word to say about it. Because Russell is her wife. Is his husband. Her husband. My bad. Russell is her husband. And Russell has been out in public with Sierra dressed that way or whatever. He's cool with it. As long as he's cool with it, it doesn't matter what the rest of the world says. Because they are husband and wife. As long as they're doing something and it's satisfying, it's okay with both of them, live your life. But if he wasn't okay with it, then he should express that to her, I think, in a private situation or whatever case may be, and they come up with a compromise. But in KEKE's situation, apparently her boyfriend, I guess, wasn't okay with it. And in a relationship, you have to take that into account. That's all I'm saying. I have my own preferences as whatever, but that's just my opinion. But again, I'm gonna say it again. As an adult, you have the right to do anything and everything you want to do. But when you have kids and when you're in a relationship, you do have to take into account your children, your husband or your wife, or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, because it's not always about self, especially when you bring other people into the equation. So, but if you have any other comments, it has come to the top of the hour. It's time for me to get up out of here. If you have any other comments in regards to this subject, because I asked the question, I was going to do it on this show. I asked the question on my Facebook page. Should adults have a dress code? I just simply put it that way. I didn't say should men have a dress code or women have. I said adults, and that question was posed to the adults, male and female. Should adults have a dress code? And I got some interesting comments, and I probably on the next show on Thursday night I try to jump into that, just to kind of let people know what the opinions were. But if you have opinions on this topic in regards to KEKE Palmer situation or any other thing that we talked about tonight, the gun violence and things of that nature, if you have comments on that, leave it in the comments. We'll definitely try to address it on Thursday night. But I want to thank you guys for. Before I go, don't go yet. Don't go yet. Hold on. Before I go, let me tell you what I'm doing. I'm coming up on 3 years on The Truth with G. I've been doing this show for 3 years. Come July 30th, it'll be 3 years. I'm not trying to celebrate myself. I'm trying to celebrate my accomplishments by helping someone else. It took a lot to do 3 years. It takes a lot to do 3 years of a show to produce and all this. It's a lot of work. And I do this. I don't do this for me. I do this for other people. I do this to help and uplift other. I do this to inform and educate other people on things that may not know. That's why I always seek knowledge for someone who is more knowledgeable than me, to where I can continue to educate myself. And I feel like I should pass that on to other people. That's why I do this show. So, but for my anniversary, I am trying to help the homeless situation. I'm trying to help the homeless people on the streets. I can't take them off the streets. I can't do that. I don't have the resources and the funds that nature to do that. But I can give them something that will help them along the way. But I need your help to do that. I need your help to do that. What I'm doing is I'm accepting donations up until the 29th of July this month, the 29th. Whatever donations I can accumulate, those items, that money will go towards buying items to where I can create toiletry bags, toiletries and needs bags, if you will. And going to purchase the items. I'm going to bag them all up in, separate bags. And I am personally going to go around the city of Pensacola. I have solicited the help of, I solicited help and for someone, and I'm not going to put his name out there right now, but I asked for help for someone that is familiar with our homeless community. And I'll put his name out there because I'm sure he don't matter. Mr. Caleb Houston. I've asked for his help because he knows where the homeless are. He knows where the homeless camps is because he has been dedicated in the last couple of years to helping the homeless as well. So he can educate me on where I need to go and what I need to do. But I am personally going to go around the city of Pensacola, where they take me a whole day, half a day, whatever you got to do. And I am going to personally put in the hands of these people that need the help. I'm going to put it in their hands personally. I'm not soliciting anybody else to help me do this because I want to deliver it personally myself, not to put down anyone's help or whatever the case may be. But this is something that I want to do to help the people that don't have anything or who was out there struggling. I appreciate that, Mr. Tony. We'll see you Wednesday night. Appreciate that, Miss Fancy. But yeah, that's what I'll be doing. But I need your help. I can't do this on my own. My pockets don't run that deep. I'm a struggling person myself. I got a kid in college that I'm trying to take care of. So my pockets don't run that deep. If I could go in my pockets and do it all by myself, I wouldn't ask for any help. But I'm looking for your help to help me help them. So I'm taking donations. I literally ask anyone in the sound of my voice to give $1. If I can get everybody on my Facebook page to give $1, that would help tremendously. That would give me enough funds to get the items and things that I need to make this happen. So, but whatever I get, I am appreciative of it. $GRAH67. Go down the houses and byways and whatnot. I just see that they are the signs that these people hold up on the side of the road. Most of them says anything else. So that's how I have seen this thing in my efforts. And that's what I'm doing. But I need your help to do it. So